Facebook live stream viewers. We are so glad to have you here today. In studio with me is my dad, Jack Gutman. Would you like to say hello, Dad?
Hi, nice to be with you this afternoon.
Dad is a veteran of D-Day, the Normandy invasion, and as you know, we are going to be airing this show on the eve of Veterans Day. So I thought, what more perfect than to have Dad come and be my guest today. So I'm very delighted to have him with me. And I'm also delighted to be wearing this beautiful dress from Satori Designs. Satori Designs on Cedros in Solana Beach. The owner, Roya Parvis, is a wonderful woman, and I want to encourage everybody to go to Satori Designs in Solana Beach and get your Christmas outfit. I got a great dress, and I got this one. And Roya is going to be kind enough to dress me here and there so that I can share her creations with you all, and so I can look terrific. One more glance at this beautiful dress. Okay, I think we are ready to start this show. So thanks for joining us. Remember, you're backstage with us here at Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Oh, we're not quite ready yet. Are we ready? We are ready. We're ready. We're going to roll. Join us now for Change It Up Radio. Or maybe not. Technical difficulties, everybody. Here comes Mike. Oh, so just start the show. Okay. Okay. Technical problems. All right. We are going to just start the show. Here we go. Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. You know that our show is all about change. We are all about spotlighting people who are trying to make the world a better place, change makers. And we're also about bringing you information to try to help you more productively and effectively deal with change. And my work as a life transitions coach is all about helping people who are dealing with the upheaval of change. As most of you already know, I am the author of Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And my latest book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And I am really enjoying doing workshops and teaching, especially around saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. So if you know a corporation or a group that's looking for a speaker, you can go to paulashawspeaks.com and get information about contacting me to speak at your event. You can also get information about my work at paulashaw.com. And you can get information about this show, Change It Up Radio, and about being a guest or a sponsor of this show. Because maybe you're somebody who listens to this show and you say to yourself, I could be a great guest on that show. My work is helping to change the world, or I have things I want to share with people. Please go to changeitupradio.com and click on Be a Guest on the Show and fill out the application. Let us connect with you and see if we can put that together. So, one of the things that I'm excited about in the show that we're doing today is that we are on the eve of Veterans Day. And, excuse me, Veterans Day is an important holiday because it's a day that our country officially set aside to honor veterans. Why should we honor veterans? Well, about a million reasons, but let's start with the fact that we have freedom today, that we have the country that we have because brave men have been willing to go to scary places, dangerous places, and fight for our country. And those are the veterans that we honor today. There are other holidays like Memorial Day that honor fallen veterans who fought for their country. But I love the fact that on this day, we honor every man who went, every man who was part, and woman, that was part of our armed forces, that went and did the hard thing, that went and did the scary thing. As most of you also know, we are being brought to you today, as always, by LifeWave, an amazing company who creates these phototherapy patches that I wouldn't be without, that use no drugs or chemicals. And this company they are the leaders in activating your stem cells. They are creating some amazing patches at LifeWave, and I'm very, very proud to have them as my sponsor. So I'm calling this show today A Veteran Speaks because I think of it two ways. My dad is a veteran. My dad is also a speaker. In fact, he's a longtime member of Toastmasters, and it was because of his example I too joined Toastmasters and did a lot of speaking and became a speaker. But I think it's important that our veterans speak. I think it's important that veterans who feel they have something to say it. Because we've got some real problems out there, ladies and gentlemen. We really do. 11 to 30% of all military personnel develop PTSD. 11 to 30%. This is the statistic that breaks my heart. 18 to 22 veterans die by suicide every day. Every day. And this is because of severe depression, chronic anxiety, sexual or other trauma, serious substance abuse, and other PTSD-related afflictions. And then here's another statistic that breaks my heart. Only 30 to 40% of those veterans who have PTSD seek professional help. That's a big part of what we want to talk about today, because my dad's life was transformed by getting that professional help. And we want to urge every veteran and every other person. PTSD doesn't just affect military personnel. PTSD affects anyone who's been through a severe trauma or shock. And I can't urge you strongly enough to get help. People that come to see me, especially because today we have energy psychology techniques that can really help people move through shifting this trauma so much more quickly. You don't have to spend 3, 10, 20 years in therapy. We have amazing tools to help you now that can do miraculous things in a short amount of time. So please seek help. We'll be talking a lot more about that during the show. What are the reasons that more veterans are not seeking help? Well, for one thing, the costliness of traditional therapy can be a real barrier. My dad got help at the VA, and there is wonderful help available at the VA. So I urge any veteran to look into those services as well. Another reason, oftentimes, though, that help is not sought by our veterans is because of the shame they feel and the social stigma. See, military men are taught to be brave and bold and courageous. Men and women are all taught those same things. That's what equips them to be able to go into war zones and do the hard things that they have to do. And now their service is over and there's this incongruence. Part of them believes they should be brave and bold and courageous, and the other part of them is hurting. The other part of them is having nightmares, having tremors, having fears, having hallucinations, and all the other symptoms that are part of PTSD. And so they're caught. They're caught in this push-pull. Do I get help? Do I let myself down? No, I can tough it out. I'm brave enough. I'm strong enough. I can do it. But ladies and gentlemen, PTSD is a serious, serious disorder. And there is no shame in getting help in dealing with the symptoms of it, in dealing with the real emotional pain. So I know my dad, who dealt and lived through one of the darkest days. Well, in the end, it was a wonderful day in history because we won. But it was a traumatic, very, very difficult day that you'll be hearing a little bit about in just a moment from Dad. But when you've gone through this kind of thing, and by the way, it doesn't have to be even that horrible. You could be stationed in an office in service and have 3 of your friends die on the battlefield that day. That's traumatic. That's shocking. And let's keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of the military personnel who are fighting out there today are between 18 and 24 years of age. Think about your 18-year-old or your 18-year-old self, what you were doing when you were 18. Were you in a battlefield? Were you shooting people? Were you running for your life? Most of us today, probably not. But a lot of people are still going through that. Those that have the courage and have the belief to join the armed forces and go fight for their countries. And those are the people that I hope to really, really reach with our message today. And those are the people my dad is trying to reach today, because we want you to know that you don't have to spend your life suffering. PTSD does not have to be a life sentence. And no matter what symptoms you have or what you're telling yourself, maybe you think it's not that bad, or, hey, I don't have it as badly as my friend Joe had it. Doesn't matter. Whatever you're experiencing, if it's taking away from the quality of your life, then you deserve to get help and get your life back. Because one of the things that I think carried my dad through, and we'll be talking to him about this, but he had a purpose in his life. He had a family that he loved. He believed he was going to get better. And that helped him get through a lot of the hard times. But sometimes people don't feel that. They don't have that sense of purpose. 18 to 22 veterans every day don't feel that they have a strong enough sense of purpose to stay alive. And they end their lives through suicide. That's a statistic that we have to change. That's a statistic that is completely unacceptable, in my opinion. And that's why I'm so happy to be doing this show with Dad today, to be doing this show to honor veterans, and to urge all all veterans to love yourself enough to give yourself the best that's available to you, and the best, most beautiful, full, rich life possible. And that's what we're going to be talking about today in just a moment with my dad. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
If you could rebuild your health on a solid foundation, would you do it? Do you have health issues that doctors just can't get to the bottom of, and all they do is prescribe pills to lessen your symptoms? Would you like a better way? Certified FDN practitioner Desiree Lawn founded Autoimmune Health Freedom because she struggled with health issues from childhood that could not be explained. Today, she lives a vibrant life, free of aches and pains and full of energy to enjoy activities with her family. The life you would like to live. How did she do it? Autoimmune Health Freedom has the tools you need. For a free discovery session, call 858-248-1657 or go to autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. That's autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. Yes, you can feel better again. You can rebuild your health. You can have the life you want. Call 858-248-1657.
Desiree Lawn is not licensed by the state of California as a healing arts practitioner.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw, and after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking, and we're being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw, and you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Well, as promised, my dad, Jack Gutman, is here in studio with me now, and we are going to be talking with him in just a moment. But first, let me tell you just a little bit about him. He was born in San Francisco in 1925, and he grew up in a tough neighborhood of New York City. At 17 and a half years old, and probably a little frustrated with his life running around with a street gang and feeling desperately that it was important to serve his country, Dad convinced his father to sign for him because he wasn't even old enough to go into the military. And his dad let him enlist in the Navy. After training for many months as a medical corpsman, his first active duty took him to England to prepare a hospital for the aftermath of the invasion of Europe. His very first combat was D-Day, where he landed on Utah and Omaha beaches in the Invasion of Normandy. And I suddenly lost my words. He was in the Invasion of Normandy. Sometimes when I think about it, really I do, I just kind of blank out because I realize he was 18. He was 18 years old dealing with what was in front of him. And after that experience, he suffered with PTSD, undiagnosed for 66 years. So I think without me telling you more, I will just bring Dad on right now because I could also tell you, and maybe I will add, that he has been interviewed by the World War II Museum people, and his interview is archived in that museum. He has been on Martha McCallum's Fox News show, Ben Shapiro's show, and of course, a recurrent guest here at Change It Up Radio, his favorite gig.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Dad.
Thank you for inviting me, Paula.
You're here on this eve of Veterans Day show. So I think to begin with, maybe some of our listeners haven't heard you before, heard you talk about Normandy. So let's just give a little brief background. You were in the Normandy invasion on D-Day in, was it 1944?
1944, June 6th.
June 6th, 1944. You were 18 years old.
Yes. $5,000 ships, 11,000 planes, 150,000 men. What we thought was, due to the bombing, shelling, and all, was going to be a cakewalk turned out to be an absolute nightmare.
Because it was so much worse than you ever expected, right?
Absolutely.
You thought they were doing all this bombing from the air and all of that, and that when you got there, what was your job actually supposed to be, Dad?
Basically, they told us you were to help the military, the army that was there, and their medical group, just take care of any wounded that they haven't taken care of, and evacuate them back to various ships and take them on back to the hospital in various England spots that we had prepared for them. And we thought it was going to be a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, since they didn't hit the bunkers up there, it was like a slaughter for a lot of the men. And it was horrible. And like I said, it was like a nightmare because I was 18 years of age, and it was something I wasn't prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was our job.
So let me ask you, during any of the time that you were there in Normandy fighting that day, did you have any experience with the people of Normandy? Were they fighting with you? Did you get to meet them? Were they helping in any way?
No. All I saw was that part of the beach that we hit with barbed wire, mines that were exploding and killing a lot of people. I spent about 6 hours on the beach in just pure hell, just trying to survive, taking care of whatever people I could. That's what it was.
And one of the things that still strikes me to this day, Dad, when I think about it, is that the boys, really, that were dying in your arms, the ones that were looking to you to save them, were your age, right? It wasn't
Absolutely.
like you're a 30-year-old experienced doctor or medical corpsman. You're the same age they are. They were your friends, some of them, right?
This was so traumatic for me because you got people pleading and crying, mama, mama, and they were my age, as I said, 18, 19, 20, 21. And you see all of this, and it's just, I really didn't know what we were really doing. I knew what my job was, but was it really worth seeing those boys die? And very honestly, I felt for many, many years, did they really give a damn that we died or many men were wounded?
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the people of France that you liberated.
Yes, Normandy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
I
didn't
got
know.
a big surprise.
You didn't really know if they cared or if it mattered to them, the sacrifice of thousands and thousands of men. How many men died that day?
We lost over 9,000.
Over 9,000 boys basically died.
And
For people-
many, many wounded.
People they'd never met, people they would never really know,
Right.
right? Except that something pretty amazing happened for you this year in June, the 75th anniversary of Normandy.
Right.
And can you give us briefly an overview of how it happened and who you went with and what was the story?
Yeah. Well, I was contacted by a man called George Chiampa, a great guy. He worked so hard to make it possible. He got 7 veterans, that was including me,
Mm-hmm. 7 veterans from Normandy.
from Normandy that were there that D-Day that participated in various parts of the invasion. Some were pilots and so forth, and got it together, and with the help of the American Airlines and contributions that he got from various people, which cost a whole lot. American Airlines did a fantastic job and all for us. And they took us to Normandy. And we started June 1st. We're going to do a 12-day documentary.
12-day documentary in Normandy.
Right.
So this is the first time you would be going back since the nightmare day, the day that caused the trauma and the PTSD and all of that.
75 years had gone by.
So what had changed? what was different now that enabled you to even want to go back to Normandy? Because I remember for a long time you had no interest in ever
Right.
seeing it again.
Well, one thing was the fact that, number one, you were very instrumental in getting me to stop drinking because I was medicating myself so badly, and you finally got me to do that. And with that, I was able to go to the veterans, go through 3 years of therapy, because I did not want to go back to Normandy because I honestly thought, Paula, they didn't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back, once I was cured of with the therapy.
Once your PTSD was no longer
post-traumatic
really
stress disorder.
symptomatic.
Yeah, with your help, and then a great guy who was my therapist, Dylan Bender. He, with his patience and just good, patiently 3 years working with me, finally got me where I could talk about it, write my book, and then finally the time came where I was ready to go back to Normandy.
Okay, and let's stop you right there. We have to take a break. But when we come back, we want to talk about what happened when you went back to Normandy 75 years later. All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Sherry Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Cherry Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire consulting firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And I have in studio with me today my dad, Jack Gutman, veteran of D-Day, the Normandy invasion. And if you weren't with us in our last segment, Dad was talking about that day, what pure hell it really was. They expected that all they were going to have to do was go into the beach after the bombing had happened and just, take care of a few guys that had gotten hit here and there, patch them up and get them back to the boats. But what they weren't expecting was those big giant German guns had not been taken out by the aircraft, the American aircraft. And so men were just basically being slaughtered on the beach by those giant guns. So what my dad, as an 18-year-old medical corpsman, walked into was a slaughter, a nightmare. And that precipitated 66 years of undiagnosed PTSD. But last year, Dad had the opportunity to go with George Champa and a group, 7 veterans altogether, including you, right,
Yes.
Dad? Go back to Normandy to work 12 days on a documentary film that they filmed there. So Dad was just about to tell us that. And by the way, one of the important points that he made was in all the years that he was dealing with this PTSD, he wondered, did it really matter to these people? Was our sacrifice worth it? And he'd never met any of them. And by the way, for 75 years, he swore he would never go back to Normandy.
Yes.
Why revisit the scene of the trauma, right? The nightmare.
Exactly.
But he sought help, which is something I talked about in the beginning of the show, something he believes is so important now. He sought help through the VA and through Dylan Bender, the therapist. He was brought to a place where he could be comfortable with the memories, talk about it, and actually write a book and work to try to help other people heal. So I think that brings them up to speed, Dad. Now you're back in Normandy. It's the anniversary of the invasion this year, last
Yes.
June, right? And I'm going to, as you're telling the story, show our Facebook live stream viewers some of the pictures that you have from that day.
Right.
Because the first one I have to say, you heard Dad say, we wondered if they ever cared. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show you thousands of people in the streets. Tell them about it, Dad.
Yes. This particular picture was at St. Mary Église. That's when they did a Band of Brother picture where the man was hanging from the steeple. Well, when 7 of us were on a stand there, they had an orchestra and everything, and these people came out by the thousands. And the picture you're looking at, you can almost double the amount of people. We were just stymied by that. We could not understand the love that they shared with us, the tears and wanting to touch you and take pictures was just absolutely amazing. And I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. I must have cried so many times. People wanted to have pictures with you. And we went through various things. Every one of those veterans that you saw there were crying because we finally realized these people truly, truly cared that we had freed them. And I was there with my son as my guardian, and I'll tell you, he was so instrumental in helping me because on the beach of Normandy, on Omaha Beach, I was walking along there, and I was reminiscing about it, and I broke down crying. At the cemetery, I walked amongst the people there at the grave sites. I had spoke to about 4 or 5 television crews from England, Belgium, France, and Germany. And I was just so in awe that they cared that much and wanted to know about how we felt about what we did. And I'll tell you one thing, my heart was touched to be able to be part of it again. And when I was at the gravesite there, I had once, when I was doing the Martha McCallum show, they asked, what would you do when you get there? And I said, I will probably pray for those guys that I had taken care of that were probably laying in the graves. And I will salute them, and I will make sure that they never, ever be forgotten. I said that, and I did that. And it was a very emotional time for me. I am a very emotional man. I'm sorry about this one. I'm not really sorry. But it was a wonderful experience. I was there when the president and Trump and Macron spoke. I was on the 4th or 5th row there. I got a chance to shake hands with the president and Macron. Wonderful, wonderful people. What an experience with all of the veterans received because they really, really cared for us. You know, it was really quite an experience.
Tell them a little bit, Dad, of some of the stories. I remember even when you were gone, hearing from Craig that people were holding dinners for you and celebrations in the evening. And by the way, Dad, my brother does tell me that he has some very incriminating video of you dancing with young French girls.
That's that is true. And here I was, 93 years of age, and I'm in St. Mary Église, right where that square is, and they're playing Glenn Miller music, you know, and we're dancing, and I'm dancing. This French girl comes up and asks me to dance, and I am jitterbugging with her. I mean, 93.
And he's
of course
93, folks.
Yeah,
He's 93.
I'm doing it, and there's pictures of it. And we did it, and it was so much fun. And I'll tell you one thing: there was an experience where I was in a store with my son doing a little shopping in St. Mary Église, or one of the Carpentier, or one of the others, and a German man comes up to me and he says, he must have been near his 40, 50s, and he said, "My father fought you in the war, and could we be friends?"
Oh, my goodness.
And I looked at him and I said, "My friend," I says, "when I was fighting, I may have hated you, and like I hated the Japanese when I fought them in Okinawa, but I'll tell you one thing. I have learned not to be tied down by hatred, because you can't go ahead. So I said, I love the Japanese, I love the Germans, and I love you, my friend." And we hugged, and the tears flowed.
That's beautiful.
I tell you, that was such a movement. And Craig stood there just watching this happen. And then he said, "Could you come out, take pictures with my friends and I?" These were moments that were so precious to me. When I was on Omaha Beach and I had broken down crying, and my son is, as you saw a picture there, and I wanted to be alone for a few more minutes, and he stood aside. A woman came across the beach because it was near empty because it was going to rain. And she said to me, "You saved me and saved us. Could I hug you?" And I hugged her, and again the tears flowed. I tell you, it was so moving. And I grew to realize they loved us. They appreciate what we did. And I tell you, for my comrades that died, I tell you now, it was well worth it. And now when I wrote, and now when I speak at places, I tell people how wonderful the French people could be, and that there's love if we give love.
And what's really beautiful in my mind too, Dad, is this was 75 years ago. So some of these people who are reaching out to you now were probably children, you know, or it was, or maybe newborns.
And they were, and it was because one gal said to me when I was a little girl, and that you came and you saved us, and now she's a grown woman and got family of her own. This was, I mean, those experiences just changed my life, and what it did for me, I had a little bit, I needed closure for my post-traumatic stress because I'd been cured pretty well, but there was that little thing hanging on. Did they really give a damn? That's what I felt. And I learned, because the dinners and the show and the banquets that they had for us were so precious. And boy, the food and the wine and everything just flowed.
Yeah.
They couldn't do enough for us.
Well, you know, when you think about it, what a beautiful experience for them, too, to get to actually meet some of the men who were there that day that made that huge sacrifice for them. Because, and also, Dad, I think before we run out of time in this segment, tell them a little bit about the emails that you're getting now.
Yes, that has been so, I couldn't believe it. I'm going to be 94 December 19th. And I say to myself, I'm just a normal guy. And here are these people. I got a letter from a court judge in Florida that wanted to sign autographed cards for his family and himself, and asked me if I would, for on a book, and I sent him a book. I was so touched by him and how much he appreciated it. I get letters from people from all over the country, from France and England and Germany, and I just could not believe it. Now, when I sent a book there, I mean, my book costs only $10, but the postage is $14, But I send it anyway because I've got new friends that are over there. So you know what? I remember in Normandy when we were walking along the beach of Omaha, I said to Craig after that woman said, "You saved me," I said, "Son, you don't have to know the language to feel the love."
Oh, I love that. And we're going to have to go to a break right now. But when we come back, we'll continue the story about the healing that you received in Normandy. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. And as always, we are being brought to you by LifeWave, leaders in the field of activating your stem cells. We are talking about Veterans Day today. We're talking with my dad, Jack Gutman, veteran of the Normandy invasion. And in our last segment, Dad was sharing with us a beautiful healing experience that he got to have this year on the 75th anniversary of Normandy, actually going back with a group of other veterans and filming a documentary for 12 days. And Dad mentioned in the first segment that he was never really quite sure if it mattered to the people what they had done. But when he went back, he was overwhelmed with the love, with the outturn. He showed me a picture, and there are so many thousands of people who are nowhere near the sidewalk, even able to see anything. But it was like they felt compelled to come so that you would know that they were grateful and how grateful they were. And that's pretty much what you really experienced, right, Dad? And one of the stories that I loved that you mentioned to me was the man who asked if he could do a little brief interview with you there.
Yes.
Tell them about that.
We were at the VIP Center, which is above Omaha Beach there. It's a big, beautiful thing, and they were giving us beverages and sandwiches and stuff to the veterans and all. Mm-hmm. And there was different interviews people wanted to have. And I just finished about 2 or 3 interviews. And by the way, the Secretary of the Navy was there, and he introduced himself. He was with his wife, and he says, what did you do? And I said, well, I made the Invasion of Normandy, and also made the Invasion of Okinawa. And he goes, both theaters? And I said, yeah. And he goes, that shouldn't have happened. And I says, where were you when I needed you, So, and he says, I like you. Come here. I want to take a picture with you. And I took a picture. Craig took a picture with his wife and myself and him, the Secretary of the Navy. And it would be really interesting. And I hope you're seeing this and remember me. Remember. Anyway, one of the nicest things, after all that was over, I was sitting kind of resting, looking over that beach, which was so tranquil at this time. And
this is
I
when this man
flashed-
interviewed you, right, though, Dad? The interview that he recorded?
yes, this guy comes over to me and he says, could I do a 10-minute interview with you? And he said he does things for the veterans, where the existing veterans now, where they need things for the family, for diapers, a car.
Was
needs
he
to be
American?
fixed.
He was an American, right?
He's
Working
an American,
with
yes.
veterans.
Yeah, he's from Texas.
Right, okay.
And he represents his company as a wish for veterans, you know.
Okay.
So he said, I'd like to do a 10-minute interview with you because he heard somewhere I had 66 years of post-traumatic stress.
Right.
And so I said, okay. And so I did 10 minutes for him. And he thanked me. Well, I left and I never thought much more about it. And then what happened about a month ago, I get a call from him and he says to me, I would like to have lunch with you and talk to you. And then he said to me that interview you did for 10 minutes saved 6 men from committing suicide. And boy, did that touch my heart. I mean, I was even reluctant about doing that thing because I was so tired and all, but I did it. And then he said, he asked me would I do another interview, and I said, absolutely. And I honored what he wanted to do, because I thought to myself, if I can just talk to people and just let them know what I went through, that they don't have to go through 66 years of post-traumatic stress like I did and do all the crazy things that I did and almost lose my family and everything else. And
because
here,
there's help out there.
6 men are now alive because of that. And
that's
that
so
touched
beautiful.
me.
So he played this interview for 6 men who were considering suicide.
Yeah, to a group of men. And he says that when he was interviewing me, he said to me that he's been losing, because he deals with military, at least a couple of men a day,
Yeah. Well, you heard that statistic I gave, Dad.
that
18 to 22 men.
Yeah, that breaks
men and
my
women a
heart
day.
when I hear a man commit suicide. I plead with people constantly, don't kill yourself, men. There's I said on Martha McCallum's show, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get help. I didn't believe it when I went through it. Matter of fact, I resisted in the beginning, but boy, it sure changes you. Please get the help. I thank my daughter from the beginning when she got me to start by stopping the drinking, because see, one of the problems, Paula, that I ran into was that I was in I worked in a mental institution for a few weeks when I was in my training and all. And I learned an interesting thing. When you work a mental institution, it scared the heck out of you. And I thought they would put me in a mental institution.
Right, with the things.
But that's why I resisted and didn't do anything. But once I got opening that you opened it up for me, and then the veterans, and that can happen to any veteran, I guarantee you. Just try it.
There is help. And so one of the things I want to talk a little bit about, Dad, is today you have a best-selling book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War.
Yes.
You speak in media, and you speak at live events. You're doing a lot. You're 94 years old. A lot of people would be sitting back watching their favorite TV show most of the day. Why do you do this? What's in it for you? What's the purpose?
Well, number one, it isn't where I make a lot of money from the book, because I kept it at $10, so I wanted people to get it. I give away a lot of books because I want people to be touched. I want to touch people. And I want to say one thing. I said this once before, and I want people to understand this. This is to all people that are going through post-traumatic stress. And you brought it up aptly when you said you don't have to be in the service to go through post-traumatic stress.
Right.
If you've gone through some trauma, you've had it. But I want to tell all you people that go through that, and especially you military people, it's so important. You must feel that you mean a great deal to your armed forces and to your country. You're
And
very
your
important.
families, right? And to your families.
And
We're all-
absolutely your family.
Yes.
Your families adore you. They respect you for what you've done. I mean, they may not say something to you and all, but I guarantee you they love you for what you've done. I hear it. I heard it through Normandy and my travels, and everywhere I speak, people just do that. Remember one thing. You belong, the military people, to a chain of winning, a winning organization. And I said this before, you don't have to be something real important like with your rank. It makes a difference what your rank was. I want to tell you something. When I hit the beach of Normandy, I was just Jack Gutman, corpsman first class. I was not important. I was just a corpsman going to do his job. It was scary and everything else, but I'm going to tell you something. When I came through this one a particular guy that was wounded on the beach in Normandy, and I see him pleading, and he's saying, "Doc, help me. Help me." I became the most important man in that man's life.
And your rank didn't matter in that moment, right? Your rank didn't matter. Your background didn't matter. You were doing your job. And in that moment, you were hugely important. And that's exactly what you're talking about with this concept of the chain, right? Every link
Right.
has
And
to work.
if people would only take, no matter what their job is, I don't care if it's sweeping the floors or you're a surgeon or whatever you may be, you are important to that job. I guarantee you, if the trash man all stopped picking up the trash, we would certainly be
Amen.
concerned.
I think the point that you're saying is every life matters.
Absolutely.
In this scenario and in every scenario, every life matters. And what we do matters. Yeah. You know, I mean, each person's deeds and who they are has an energy that flows out there. And if we flow our energy out there in a positive, beautiful way, we can do some amazing things.
That's right.
And Dad, I want to say to you, I love you so much. And I'm so glad that you were here to do this show today. And I'm very proud of what you're doing with your life at this point when you could be kicking back.
Well, I thank you for giving me the opportunity so I can reach out and touch more lives. Because I have said before, as long as I got breath in my lungs and all, I will be just reaching out, touching lives. Your life and also my great family. Thank you so much.
And we know that we can find your book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, on Amazon. And is there any other way people can reach you if they want a speaker?
There's a lot of people. I'm getting things, letters and all, wanting my book for to me to autograph it. You know, and I signed it.
How do they reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me by going to right into they can 16 Palm PALM via VIA.
You know what? I have a feeling, Dad, that's going to be too much for people to hear. Let's just, I'm going to suggest they go to the show notes. We'll have your information in the show notes here because oftentimes people are doing something else anyway.
Okay.
So we need to wrap up this show. You're going to have to come back again because there's so much we didn't get to talk about.
Well,
thank you all for being with us. We're always here on Sunday nights on AM 1170 and 96.1 FM, and on every major podcast platform, including iHeartRadio. You can find us out there. Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Thank you to my dad, Jack Gutman, for being a wonderful guest and for your beautiful story and your beautiful message of hope.
Thank you so much.
All right. And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
Goodbye to the Facebook people. All right. So to our live stream viewers, I would just like to thank you for being with us on this very special show. Dad, would you like to say anything?
Yes, thank you for being patient and listening to me. God bless you, and I love you all.
And we'll see you next week. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.